No surprises here. Charles Martin knocks out Gerald Washington in the 6th round. Most people predicted a Charles Martin win from what I saw on my prediction video for this fight. And of course, I predicted a Martin win. And I have to say, the BT commentators were unduly harsh on this fight, in my opinion. Because I didn't catch this fight live. I just saw the instant replay of the knockout. That's where I watched the fight from when I was, watching the show live. I only caught the instant replay after the knockout had happened. And Barry Jones and John Rawling were both saying that the fight was really boring and dull and, oh God, we're so glad it's over. So I was expecting something really boring and dull. But when I went on Daily Motion a couple days later and watched it, I don't know what they're talking about. The fight was actually a decent little scrap. I'm not saying it was the Thriller in Manila or anything, but there was very little clinching and both guys were letting their power shots go with regularity. It's not like they were just both standing there and not doing much and it was like a Mexican standoff. No, both guys were letting go of their big power hand regularly from the first round, and there were some nice little exchanges. Now, Charles Martin always looked the more confident of the two in the fight. He did get clipped a few times by Gerald Washington's right hand, and Washington was doing some fairly decent work at long range, but you could just tell from the body language that Martin was the guy who really believed in himself. And that's the story of Gerald Washington's career, really. That's why myself and most people were picking Martin to win, because Martin is just a more robust fighter, physically and mentally, than Gerald Washington. Washington, every time somebody puts it on him, he falls apart. We saw that against Deontay Wilder. We saw that against Jarrell Miller. We saw that against Adam Kalnacki. And now I've seen it against Charles Martin. So Gerald Washington, is he just going to stick around to be a journeyman? Maybe he will. But he seems like a fairly intelligent guy. It's not the best career choice in the world to be a boxing journeyman. So if you are intelligent, then you might want to look at other options. So yeah, it was what it was. Charles Martin won. It was an IBF eliminator, not a final eliminator, but an eliminator for a belt which AJ currently holds. So there'll need to be a final eliminator before Charles Martin could become the mandatory. And who will that be against? I guess we'll have to check out the IBF rankings over the next few months. But yeah, I thought it was a decent performance by Charles Martin. I think he has improved since the AJ fight and since the Kalnacki fight as well. The Kalnacki fight really was redemption for Charles Martin because even though he lost, he showed a tremendous amount of heart and a solid set of whiskers in that fight. Because a lot of people were writing him off after the AJ defeat, but he's come back since then. He hung in there tough against Kalnacki, gave a good account of himself even though he lost on points. And he hooked up with a new trainer in Manny Robles. And to me, he looks like an improving fighter. I don't know how many guys in the top 10 I would pick him to beat, but I think he'll be in some fun fights before his day is done. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Charles Martin's victory over Gerald Washington. Is it what you expected? For me, it's exactly what I expected. I thought that Washington might make it awkward for Charles Martin for a few rounds because Washington, to be fair, he can box a little bit. But he's just so fragile mentally and physically. I always felt it'd just be a matter of time before Charles Martin got to him. Charles Martin is the more strong-willed of the two. And as I say, better chin, better stamina. He was eventually going to get to him, and he did. So yeah, nice little knockout there. Charles Martin got him with a left hand. And Gerald Washington got to his feet, but the look on his face told the referee everything he needed to know. And the referee waved it off. I think it was the right decision, especially given Gerald Washington's previous form. So yeah, anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.